Most men believe low testosterone is simply the price they have to pay for getting older. They shrug off the afternoon fatigue, the slower walks, the loss of strength, or the feeling that they just don't have the same drive they used to. But after caring for older men for many years, I've learned something important. While aging certainly plays a role, the everyday choices you make, especially what's on your plate, can influence how well your body supports healthy hormone function and overall vitality. Today, we're going to explore 7 foods that many men over 50 rarely eat, yet each one contains nutrients that may help support healthy testosterone production as part of a balanced lifestyle. More importantly, these foods can also benefit your heart, muscles, bones, and long-term health. Hello, I'm Dr. Amanda Smith, and for many years I've helped older adults protect their health, strength, and independence. By the end of this video, you'll understand why these foods deserve a place in your weekly meals, what the science actually says, and how to enjoy them in simple, practical ways. And if you enjoy evidence-based health advice designed specifically for healthy aging, consider subscribing. Every week, we share practical tips to help you stay active, independent, and feeling your best. Let's begin with a food that surprises many of my patients. A 68-year-old retired electrician named Robert sat across from me one morning with a frustrated smile. He wasn't sick, exactly. He still mowed his lawn, walked his dog every evening, and enjoyed spending time with his grandchildren. But he told me, "Doctor, by 2 o'clock every afternoon, I feel like someone unplugged my batteries." He assumed it was simply because he was getting older. What caught my attention wasn't just his fatigue. Over the past few years, he'd also noticed that carrying groceries felt harder, his muscles seemed smaller, and recovering after yard work took much longer than it used to. Many men experience changes like these without ever mentioning them. They often blame age, stress, or poor sleep, and while those factors certainly matter, nutrition is one piece of the puzzle that's surprisingly easy to overlook. When we talked about his diet, I discovered he rarely ate shellfish, especially oysters. Now, oysters aren't a miracle food, and they certainly aren't a treatment for low testosterone. But they happen to be one of nature's richest sources of zinc. Zinc is a mineral your body uses for hundreds of different processes. One of those involves supporting the normal function of the cells inside your testicles that naturally produce testosterone. Without enough zinc, those cells simply can't perform at their best. Think of zinc like the spark plug in a car. Even if the engine is in great shape, it still needs that spark to run efficiently. Oysters also provide high-quality protein, selenium, vitamin B12, copper, and other minerals that support immune health, healthy nerves, and energy metabolism. Scientific research has linked adequate zinc intake with normal testosterone levels, particularly in people who are deficient. At the same time, experts are careful to point out that eating extra zinc won't magically boost testosterone if your body already has enough. That's an important distinction. If you enjoy oysters, having them occasionally as part of a balanced diet can be a nutritious choice. Fresh, grilled, or even canned oysters can all provide valuable nutrients. If shellfish isn't your favorite, other zinc-rich foods such as lean beef, pumpkin seeds, or beans can also contribute. Of course, anyone with a shellfish allergy should avoid oysters entirely, and individuals with certain medical conditions should discuss dietary changes with their healthcare provider. What I appreciated most about Robert wasn't that he expected one food to solve everything. Instead, he gradually improved several daily habits: better sleep, regular strength training, and a more nutrient-rich diet. Months later, he told me he simply felt more like himself again. And that's really the goal, not chasing miracles, but supporting the body you have so it can continue serving you well. But the next food is one that sits quietly in many grocery stores, and most men walk right past it. Several years ago, a 72-year-old gentleman named Harold came into my office after his annual physical. His biggest concern wasn't testosterone. He simply wanted to stay strong enough to keep hiking with his wife. He laughed and said, "I don't care about climbing mountains anymore, document. I just don't want my grandkids waiting for me every time we go uphill." That simple sentence stayed with me. As men grow older, maintaining muscle becomes increasingly important. Muscle isn't just about appearance. It supports balance, mobility, healthy blood sugar, and independence. When I reviewed Harold's meals, I noticed he avoided fatty fish because he'd heard all fat was unhealthy. That's a common myth. Certain fats are actually essential for good health. One of my favorite recommendations is wild salmon. Salmon provides high-quality protein, vitamin D, omega-3 fatty acids, and selenium. Each of these nutrients supports different systems throughout the body. Vitamin D deserves special attention because many older adults have lower levels than they realize. Your body naturally produces vitamin D through sunlight, but production often decreases with age. Since vitamin D receptors are found in many tissues, including those involved in hormone regulation, maintaining healthy levels may support normal body functions. Omega-3 fatty acids help support heart health, brain function, and healthy inflammation. Chronic inflammation can interfere with many normal processes inside the body, so reducing it through healthy lifestyle choices may benefit overall wellness. Research has explored possible links between vitamin D status and testosterone levels. While some findings appear encouraging, results remain mixed, and scientists continue studying the relationship. That's why I always encourage patients to think beyond a single hormone and focus on total health. A practical goal might be enjoying salmon once or twice each week. Baking it with olive oil, lemon, garlic, and herbs makes a simple dinner that's both delicious and nutritious. Canned salmon can also be an affordable option and works well in salads or sandwiches. If you're taking blood-thinning medication or have other medical concerns, ask your healthcare provider whether any dietary adjustments are appropriate for you. Harold eventually paired healthier meals with regular resistance exercises using light dumbbells. A year later, he smiled as he told me he'd completed another family hiking trip without stopping every few minutes to catch his breath. That story reminds us that healthy aging isn't about becoming younger again. It's about preserving the strength that lets you keep living the life you love. Now, the next food surprises almost everyone because it's inexpensive, easy to find, and packed with nutrients many men unknowingly miss. A 66-year-old former high school teacher named Michael visited me because he felt his energy had slowly faded over several years. He wasn't looking for a quick fix. He simply wanted to know whether there was anything he could do naturally to support his health before assuming this was just another unavoidable part of aging. As we talked, one detail stood out immediately. He rarely ate leafy green vegetables. In fact, he admitted he couldn't remember the last time spinach had been on his dinner plate. At first glance, spinach might not seem like a food connected with men's hormones at all. Yet it contains several nutrients, including magnesium, folate, antioxidants, and plant compounds, that play important roles throughout the body. Magnesium, in particular, helps support normal muscle function, energy production, and hundreds of biochemical reactions. Some research has explored whether adequate magnesium intake may be associated with healthy testosterone levels, especially in people who are physically active or deficient in the mineral. While the evidence isn't strong enough to say spinach raises testosterone, ensuring you get enough magnesium is one more way to support your body's normal functions. Michael began adding spinach to omelets, soups, smoothies, and salads instead of thinking of it as a side dish he had to force himself to eat. Combined with regular walks and improved sleep, he noticed he had more steady energy throughout the day. And speaking of foods that quietly support healthy aging, the next one may already be sitting in your kitchen, but chances are, you're not eating enough of it. Michael's experience reminded me of something I tell my patients almost every day. Your body doesn't respond to one healthy meal. It responds to the habits you repeat week after week. That's where real progress happens. The next food is one that many men already have in their refrigerator, yet they often choose the low-fat version without realizing what they're giving up. A 74-year-old gentleman named James came to see me after recovering from a mild illness. He told me he wanted to rebuild the strength he'd lost. His appetite had returned, but he still felt weaker than before. When we reviewed his meals, I noticed he avoided eggs because he'd heard they were bad for cholesterol. Years ago, that advice was common, but our understanding of nutrition has become much more nuanced. For most healthy people, eggs can absolutely fit into a balanced diet. Eggs are rich in high-quality protein, healthy fats, selenium, vitamin B12, choline, and small amounts of vitamin D. Protein is especially important as we grow older because our muscles naturally become less responsive to it over time. That means older adults often need to be more intentional about getting enough protein throughout the day. Healthy fats also matter. Testosterone is made from cholesterol through a carefully regulated process inside the body. That doesn't mean eating large amounts of cholesterol will increase testosterone, but it does remind us that completely eliminating healthy dietary fats isn't usually the best strategy for most people. Clinical research has examined eggs in many different ways, particularly regarding muscle health and nutrition. While eggs are not a treatment for low testosterone, they remain one of the most nutrient-dense and affordable foods available. A simple breakfast of 2 eggs with spinach and whole grain toast provides protein, fiber, and several essential vitamins and minerals. If you have diabetes, heart disease, or high cholesterol, ask your healthcare provider for guidance that's tailored to your individual health. Within several months, James had regained much of the strength he'd lost, not because of eggs alone, but because he combined better nutrition with gentle strength exercises and patience. Sometimes the smallest habits produce the biggest changes over time. But the next food is one that many men dismiss as nothing more than a snack. A 63-year-old retired firefighter named Dennis admitted he often reached for cookies or potato chips during the afternoon. By dinner, he felt sluggish and wondered why his energy disappeared so quickly. I suggested replacing some of those processed snacks with a handful of mixed nuts. He looked surprised. Nuts? That's it? Actually, nuts are incredibly impressive. Different varieties provide different nutrients. Brazil nuts are exceptionally rich in selenium. Almonds offer magnesium and vitamin E. Walnuts contain plant-based omega-3 fats. Pistachios provide protein, potassium, and antioxidants. Selenium is especially interesting because it supports normal thyroid function and helps protect cells from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is a kind of wear and tear that occurs inside the body over time. While it's a normal part of life, too much can affect many aspects of health. Some scientific studies have explored the relationship between selenium status and male reproductive health. The evidence suggests selenium is important for normal body function, but more isn't always better. In fact, excessive selenium can be harmful. That's why I recommend enjoying a variety of nuts rather than relying heavily on one type. A small handful most days of the week makes an excellent snack or salad topping. Because nuts are calorie-dense, portion size matters. People with tree nut allergies should obviously avoid them. Dennis later told me something unexpected. I don't just feel fuller, he said. I'm not reaching for junk food every afternoon. That single change helped improve the overall quality of his diet, proving once again that healthier choices often create a ripple effect. Now let's talk about a food that's been enjoyed for thousands of years but still surprises many of my patients. One afternoon, a 70-year-old gentleman named Victor came in because he wanted to improve his heart health after his brother suffered a heart attack. His concern wasn't hormones at all. He simply wanted to stay healthy enough to keep traveling with his wife. As we reviewed his meals, I noticed he rarely used extra virgin olive oil. Instead, he relied heavily on butter and processed cooking oils. Extra virgin olive oil is a cornerstone of the Mediterranean diet, one of the most well-researched eating patterns in the world. It's rich in heart-healthy monounsaturated fats and natural plant compounds called polyphenol. Polyphenol act as antioxidants, helping protect cells from everyday damage. A healthy cardiovascular system matters because good blood flow supports virtually every organ in the body. Some research has explored whether Mediterranean-style eating patterns may be associated with healthier hormone profiles, but it's difficult to separate the effects of one food from an entire lifestyle. That's why I encourage patients to think about overall dietary patterns rather than searching for one magical ingredient. Drizzle olive oil over roasted vegetables, salads, grilled fish, or whole grain bread instead of deep frying foods whenever possible. Victor gradually adopted several Mediterranean-style habits, including eating more vegetables, beans, fish, and olive oil. At his follow-up visit, he smiled and said something I still remember. "I didn't realize eating healthy could actually taste this good. And our final food may be the one that's overlooked more than any other." An 81-year-old gentleman named Frank came to see me because he wanted one simple goal. "I want to stay independent." Those 5 words carried enormous meaning. He wasn't interested in living forever. He wanted to keep driving himself to church, gardening in the backyard, and carrying groceries without asking for help. Frank's meals contained very little dairy because he'd convinced himself that milk products were only for children. Instead, we discussed plain Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt provides high-quality protein, calcium, magnesium, potassium, and, in many fortified products, vitamin D. It also contains beneficial probiotics, friendly bacteria that help support a healthy gut. You might wonder what your gut has to do with hormones. Researchers are discovering that gut health influences many systems throughout the body, including metabolism, inflammation, and immune function. Although the connection between probiotics and testosterone is still an emerging area of research, maintaining a healthy digestive system supports overall wellness. The protein in Greek yogurt is particularly valuable for preserving muscle as we age, especially when combined with resistance exercise. Choose plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt whenever possible and add fresh berries, walnuts, cinnamon, or a drizzle of honey if you'd like extra flavor. People who are lactose intolerant may tolerate Greek yogurt better than regular yogurt because it contains less lactose, although everyone's tolerance is different. Frank began eating Greek yogurt several mornings each week along with fruit and nuts. Months later, he proudly told me he'd planted his entire spring garden by himself. That wasn't because of one container of yogurt. It was the result of consistent, healthy habits working together. If there's one message I'd love you to remember from today's video, it's this. There is no single food that can magically increase testosterone or turn back the clock. Healthy testosterone levels depend on many factors, including age, genetics, physical activity, sleep, stress, body weight, underlying medical conditions, and overall nutrition. The 7 foods we discussed today, oysters, salmon, spinach, eggs, mixed nuts, extra virgin olive oil, and Greek yogurt, are valuable because they provide nutrients your body needs to function well. They may help support healthy hormone production as part of a balanced lifestyle, but they are not substitutes for medical care or prescribed treatment. If you've noticed persistent fatigue, loss of muscle, reduced libido, mood changes, or other symptoms that concern you, don't assume they're simply a normal part of aging. Have an open conversation with your healthcare provider. Sometimes these symptoms are related to testosterone, but they can also be caused by thyroid disorders, diabetes, poor sleep, depression, medication side effects, or other treatable conditions. The encouraging news is that it's never too late to improve your health. Every nutritious meal, every walk around the neighborhood, every strength training session, every good night's sleep, and every positive habit is an investment in the years ahead. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s become stronger, more energetic, and more confident, not because they found a miracle cure, but because they committed to small, sustainable changes that added up over time. Now I'd love to hear from you. How old are you, and which of these foods do you already enjoy regularly? Share your answer in the comments below. I read as many of your comments as I can, and they often inspire future videos. If you found this discussion helpful, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future evidence-based videos designed to help you stay healthy, active, and independent as you age. Thank you so much for spending these few minutes with me. Until next time, take good care of yourself, stay curious about your health, and remember that the small choices you make today can help support a healthier tomorrow.